Well, hi, Raghu and Sahana. I want to thank you so much for sitting down with me tonight and talk a little bit about the neighborhood and your being owners here. So first, I want to ask you a little bit about 6 years ago. My understanding is you had a home in Santa Clara that you sold, and you came this direction. What brought you guys here?
There are a lot of things. I mean, there's proximity to work, and also heard a lot about the Cupertino school district, right? In Santa Clara, our kids, it's the one. So the first issue was that okay, the schools in Santa Clara is not great, right? So from that standpoint, we said okay, we'll send the kids over to private school. Then if you do the math and all that stuff, it's we realized what's the point in all of that. And Cupertino, being that it's so close to work as well as the other benefits, we heard a lot about community and all those things. And so said let's give it a chance. And yeah, we took the step and moved over to Barnard, and it's been great after that. I mean, it's close to, it's not only is it close to the freeways, right? I mean, it's pretty much you get everything over there. You don't have to go beyond the 3 mile radius, I think.
So you bought a house that had been built back when it was unincorporated county. So you had a very large home on a medium-sized lot size, and your house was almost 3,000 square feet with a 3-car garage. And it was actually very nice because it had been redone and it all modernized inside, you know, beautiful paint and crown molding and whatnot. And you were there and life was good. You were, you know, happy and all that. And your son had started, was he elementary school here?
Yeah, he started 3rd grade at Sedgwick Elementary.
And how did you find that compared to where he was over in Santa Clara?
Public schools are a lot different from private schools, but much better by our experience. And we wanted to just give it a try to see how we would like it, but he loved it, we were happy, and so there wasn't going back to private schools after that.
And Angeli was just a baby when you moved here, right?
It's a 2-month-old baby, but she's been going to Sedgwick for 2 years now, and it's been great.
And when you moved in, as far as being able, family with small children and stuff, there were a lot of kids that local, obviously neighborhood, going to the school, and so.
Exactly, with the schools being so close, the classmates were neighbors, and it really made a lot of difference.
And you guys you have the great benefit of having Sahana's parents live with you, so you have that, the houses here being with downstairs bedrooms and stuff are nice, but the house that you sold on Barnhart that you were living before had a very large upstairs bedroom too, which was great for them.
Yeah, that was a beautiful house, but just was not practical for the way our family was at that point.
And then you stumbled upon me when I was selling a house on Tantau early on a day, and came in, and it had 2 downstairs bedrooms, which was a unique feature, and figured that would be better off for your family in general.
Yeah. We were coming back from lunch at a friend's place when we saw your open house sign, and just stopped to take a look at the house, and that was it. The weekend after that, we were in contract, so.
Right, and I remember Raghu saying that you never thought you'd be leaving the house on Barnhart. Like, what was going on?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Like 30 days later, we're in a different house. Yeah, and that's the other nice thing is if you look at all of Cupertino, this particular area is undergoing transition, and so if you want to get this size of the house, the newness of the house, if you go to other areas, I think you get more older homes. Whereas this part of the neighborhood, I think you get a lot of homes where you have a choice of either demolishing it and building a new one, or you basically move into a newer homes. So I think again, all of these factors make this place really attractive.
And the schools are very well balanced. So
Yeah.
we've heard about a lot of pressure and competition with other schools in Cupertino. So going by that, this seems like a very well balanced set of schools that we have here. So that is definitely an advantage.
Right, so I knew you were going to be going to
He
Cupertino
goes
High
to
next
Cupertino
year.
High next year.
Right,
Yeah.
and so he'll have been in all 3 neighborhood schools, which is great.
Exactly.
So it'd be
Yeah.
interesting, you'll still have an elementary school child and a high school child.
High school child.
And
yes,
going to
yes.
school with the same classmates, a lot of them that he's
Mhm.
been in.
Yes.
And
yes.
he seems to like it. And,
He loves it.
lots of
yeah,
homework
yeah.
though, right?
Yep. So when we did think of moving, so that was the one thing that Anirudh didn't want was to change schools. So that was the reason why we were hoping to find something here. Yeah.
Well, you're the only people that I know that moved like 3 blocks away. The
Exactly.
moving boxes were in great shape. I'm still giving those moving boxes out to people as they need them. It's very funny. In fact, I just brought some to the folks that were selling their house on Brett. I think I'm
Okay.
down to my last 20 boxes or something like that to give out. But so you moved. So when you moved over here, your lot size changed significantly. You're in a much larger
Almost
piece of land.
doubled.
Yeah, 9375 lot, and then you have just about 600 or 700 square feet more. But it's significantly. I think the build of the kind of house is different, bigger in the entryway and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You've made some improvements since you bought the house and done it a couple different things. So you've had some experience with the city and stuff like that. So you put up a wall in front of your house that
Yeah.
made you have a nice little courtyard.
Yeah, it's a good way to identify the house. Right? We just say, oh, the house with the wall in front.
That's right. That's right. Easily identified, right?
Yeah.
So there's obviously more changes going on now. In the neighborhood. What have you noticed? Just by being here now 6 years, you've certainly seen the market when it was hot back in the 05, 06, or first part of 07.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of newer homes coming up. Because folks are moving in here, seeing the value, and the fact that the schools are doing a whole lot better, right? In the last 5 years, I think the scores in the schools have really done well. And I think, it's one of the reasons people want to move in here is as well, given the education system is so great.
So how do you find the parental participation in the schools? Do you find that there's a lot of...
There is a lot of parent participation. Yes.
Well, I know I often see you walking Angeli to school. So you're just a few minutes up the road, which is great. And there's a lot of other parents that do that.
It definitely helps to have all 3 schools at walking distance. And you don't have to worry about the parking your car in the rush and all of that. So it's definitely, it's just perfect as far as schools are concerned.
And because it's in close proximity to work and stuff, how does that benefit your overall family lifestyle?
Oh, it's
Quite a bit.
in fact, given the proximity to work, it even allows me to come home for lunch, which is, I don't know if it's great for her, but
Now, for someone that works long hours like he does, I cannot imagine him having a commute of maybe an hour each way like some people do. And we would barely have seen him at that rate. So he's at work in less than 10 minutes. So it makes a lot of difference. Yeah.
right. And other thing I would like to add is also that the neighborhood is pretty safe, and from that standpoint, we feel more secure given that knowledge, right? So in fact, Anirudh actually takes his bike all the way to the park in his back. We don't have to worry about it too much. And, given all of those things, I think.
So do you think next year you'll have him ride his bike to school?
Seems very likely, yeah. With the construction going on in Cupertino High and even otherwise, with a lot of cars, I think it's definitely something.
Well, at least there's an easy outlet from here, from
From
Tantau,
here, exactly.
to get
exactly.
over
To
across the
back
way
side
there
of
in the
school.
back way.
Yes.
And they've certainly done a lot of improvements. Have you guys been to the campus?
We did. We had to go a couple of weeks ago to pick his classes and stuff. So he's very excited.
That's
It
good.
looks nice. It's going to look much nicer, I think, in the next couple of years with all the construction that's going to go on.
Yeah,
So-
making it a high school that looks a little bit more modernistic and things like that. So that's really
Yeah,
great.
and also the teachers over there, and the principal, Cupertino, she seems very passionate about the kids and the education system and all that. So that's another encouraging factor.
In fact, I was on YouTube. Somebody had posted on my Facebook page I think it was Christmas concert that they had at the high school, the choir. And it was nice to see, because you don't often associate Cupertino high schools with arts, where people are actually doing things that are not academic related, So it looks like there's some great programs that they have at the high school.
That's what I was saying compared to a couple of other high schools. So this one seems to have a very good balance of everything.
Yeah,
So-
the kids seem to have a lot of fun, at the same time fun mixed with education, right? Which is, I think, the right combination. So
Well, I remember last year when he had the cooking class, right, in middle
Yeah.
school, which I think was great. I didn't realize that they still did that,
Yeah.
have opportunity for home ec or whatnot.
Yeah. Hyde in particular seems to have a lot of choices for electives. So they
Yeah,
have
and
a
I thought
lot
that
of
was
fun things.
yeah, and I thought that was kind of the norm. And she said, no, it's not. Not many middle schools have all these programs, and
Which is interesting, because oftentimes when I talk to people at open houses, there's a lot of people that look at the API score for Sedgwick being in the nines, and then Cupertino High doing so well over the last few years. And then you look at Hyde, which their API scores actually dipped a little bit. And as parents that have a child there, how do you feel about that score in comparative to the other ones that are in the Cupertino area? How do you?
So when we didn't realize initially why the score was the way it is, we were a little worried. But once we figured out what made the scores lower, it absolutely made sense, because I believe Hyde is the only middle school which accepts the English language, the ELD students. So, and when they considered the score, considered the score based on all the students at Hyde. So obviously the students who need extra help with English language will have a lower score, whereas the other schools don't have those kind of kids. So that's what brings the score down.
And that's interesting that they don't mention that it has to be something that you talk about, because it certainly seems to be a factor of disappointment to a lot of people who are excited. And I do happen to mention that when I hold open houses and whatnot. And I tell them to just go to the school website to be able to learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah, we've been very happy with the school, and Anirudh has been doing great, absolutely no complaints. So, I don't think anybody should go based on the score.
Right.
But once you try it out, definitely there's nothing different. They only have more than some other schools offer. So.
Well, and then in fact, you showed me that lovely, for Anjali's kindergarten class, that lovely book that the teacher put together that really speaks well about the investment that the teachers have. Why don't you talk a little bit about what she did?
Book that she gave at the end of the year.
Right.
Yeah, so that was a very touching kind of book, and something that as parents of first grade kids, right, a couple of weeks ago we were talking about all the stuff that comes home from school with all their work, and then you kind of hold on to it for a while, and then you realize there's absolutely no way you can hold on to everything that comes home the whole year. But every parent was talking about that stuff that the kindergarten teacher gave at the end of the year, which nobody wants to let go. They're going to hold on to it for the rest of their lives. So she made a book with everything that the kids did the whole year, and
Per child.
per child.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
So
is
every
a
child
lot
got a
of
book with all the interesting stuff they did that whole year, and with their pictures, and with it was just the amount of time that she spent on each kid was unbelievable. I still can't believe that somebody could do that for 30 kids in the class.
I think people tend to think that the teachers are disassociated with students. You hear so many negative things.
Exactly.
But it's so refreshing to be in an area where there's a genuine caring for the nurturing of the child's spirit.
Yes.
And when you showed me that, it was touching, because I felt like, that reminded me of things that they did when I was a kid, and that you think that's lacking, moving forward and stuff. So what do you are looking forward to seeing change in this neighborhood moving forward? I know there's going to be a new house coming down the street on the corner down here. Actually, they're going to do a house with a little guest house,
Oh,
which will be nice. Yeah.
Okay.
not a whole lot, right? And this neighborhood is pretty quiet and all that, and hope it continues to stay that way. Right? Yeah, hopefully we would rather not have a lot of traffic in this area. So we have to see how all of this, with the new Apple campus coming close and all that, how it's going to impact this neighborhood. So hopefully should be very little impact, but yeah. So
Well, I think that the main impact it'll have will be on home values, and that probably the more desire to build newer homes, which I think will be good for everybody. I think that you'll always benefit because you do have a larger piece of land, and that seems to be the general trend. But there's really no need to come into this neighborhood because it runs between two major streets, between Bollinger and Stevens Creek. If you're really getting out to get someplace, you're really not driving through the neighborhood. You're not using this as a cutoff, so I can't imagine that there'd ever be too much traffic. But it'll be close to the new Apple campus when it goes down the street. But they'll have buses. They're not going to be cars around, right?
yeah, that way it'll be. Yeah, you never know. It's still several years away. But apart from that, I mean, I'd rather have the neighborhood stay as it is. Because we are pretty happy with how it is right now. So
Right.
Another thing I would like to add about Anjali's school, right, Sedgwick as well, is how the teachers are really involved. It not only what she did last year, we had a birthday party for Anjali in her house, and we had invited the teachers as well. And the teachers actually made it over. In fact, our first grade teacher came over, and it made Anjali so happy. And the teachers really are concerned about how the kids, they want to know more about how the kids do in their homes and all of those things, which is great, I think. It'll actually make them very effective as teachers themselves. So.
Well, I think so too. I think that especially when you start in kindergarten, you know, Anjali tends to be a little shy. So to know that she had, you know, an impact, that she had a relationship with the teacher that was positive and genuinely, you know, excited to see somebody come back and visit, that's a great thing.
I can't believe it's the same Anjali who would cling to me the whole time, who didn't want me to go home when I dropped her at preschool. She wanted me to sit on a chair outside. And she stayed there 3 hours knowing that I'm waiting for her on the chair outside. And it's the same Anjali now who looks forward to going to school. And so she said her kindergarten, the whole year of kindergarten, she said her teacher was the best. She loved her and she thought it was, you know, like the best school ever. And then we come to first grade, and so we had a conference with the teacher, and the teacher asked us, so what does Anjali think about school? Does she like it? Does she like me? And, you know, how does she generally feel about everything? And so I told the teachers, so according to Anjali, you are better than the best. And she was like, wow, that's the best compliment I've ever received. So, and she didn't quite get it. So I told her that the teacher in kindergarten she thought was the best teacher ever. And now this year she thinks you are even better than the teacher last year. So that makes you better than the best. So,
That's great.
Yeah, it helps a lot when the kids go to school happy and, you know, when they're feel
absolutely.
comfortable with the teacher. And it makes a lot of difference. Yeah.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you guys so much for sitting down with me tonight, talking a little bit about the neighborhood. Appreciate it. You guys are great friends and a good client too, so.
And thank you for being the realtor for our neighborhood.
Oh, you got a little thing going on here. There's too many things going on this street, but that's all
always
good.
a good thing.
It is a good
I
thing.
would love to see Kim Connor signs, you know, at every corner.
Every corner.
Yeah.
No other realtors in the neighborhood but me,
No,
right?
no,
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't think we would have moved to this house if it was somebody else.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and we had decided when we walked after the open house that we were unsure if everything would fall into place and whether we would be able to sell that and move here. But one thing we had decided that evening was that whether we sell that house or buy this house, if none of that works, whenever we need a realtor, it's going to be Kim. So we walked out of the open house thinking that, you know, you would be a realtor, but fortunately everything else fell into place. And
Well, that's good. And I think, you know, we were really lucky because we were timing was really important for you guys. And I think that it was great that the sellers were able to work with us and we were able to do some, which is very unusual, we were able to do some preparation, getting some things done in the house while we were in escrow, rather than waiting to close.
It was really nice of them to let us to do all that.
So that really, I mean, from the time that you guys were ready to move in, we had your house on the market within a few days after you guys moved out, which was, timing was essential.
Yep, and we were in contract in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
With the
and that is
Barnhart
very-
house, so that was
Yeah,
all
given our
just-
experience with Santa Clara, is not sure how long it will take the property to sell here. I think, I mean, your staging and everything else worked its magic.
Well, the funny thing about that is, you know how I like to do it long open houses. So the couple that ended up buying your house, they were so afraid they weren't going to see the house. But remember, that was the weekend where I had a graduate. I had something to do on a Saturday, and I couldn't be open for you guys. And I said, listen, I can't be open. I can either get somebody else to do it, or I can do really long hours for you on Sunday. And you preferred me to do it and to do long hours, so I was open 10 to 6 that day. And the couple that ended up buying your home, or the family that bought your home, wasn't going to be able to go because they had 2 birthday parties back to back. So they came like right at 10 o'clock, and they fell in love immediately. And they're the folks that ended up buying the house, which is a great thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So if I had not been open, If I had not
Yeah.
been open, it would not have happened. But
Yeah.
sometimes things are serendipitous.
Exactly.
So it's all good.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thank
Thank you.
you.